Okay. So go ahead and find a spot on your mat, lying on your back. We're going to drop out of the head space and into the heart space. If your lower back is tender today, you can put a bolster or blanket under your knees or just keep your knees bent as such. And as you settle onto the mat, let all of the thoughts and sensations and feelings, let them settle onto the mat around you. Just as sand settles to the bottom of a calm sea. Take your attention to the breath. And let the breath be long and soft and effortless. And with each inhale, feel yourself sinking deeper into a profound state of awareness, of connection with the spirit within, your great spirit. And as you connect with that inner essence, go ahead and observe the body, scanning the body, starting at the toes. Allow your attention to witness whatever is arising, be it physical, emotional, or spiritual. Wherever you sense tension, pause. For that tension is asking for your attention. Give it your breath and invite it in. Notice the way it releases. And as you feel settled onto the mat, go ahead and place your hands on the lower belly, palms connecting with that lower abdomen. Direct your breath to be born there. Let it start deep. And feel the rise and fall of the lower abdomen as you ground yourself into the earth's energy. Notice the calming effect of this breath. This deep, grounding energy. Reminding you that you are one with the earth, with all those who inhabit it. And once you feel good and grounded, allow your hands to journey upward towards the ribs, placing the palms on the outside of the ribs, just under the breastplate. And as you breathe deep into the belly, feel the way that breath expands into the rib cage, pushing the ribs outward as they expand and tightening as they contract with the exhale. Allow that grounding feeling to expand through the entire body and psychophysical realm. You exude this grounded feeling in the world around you. And taking that expansion even deeper into the psyche, bring those hands, those palms up to the clavicle. Directing the breath into the low belly, feeling the way it journeys upward as it expands into the rib cage, and finally into the sternum. Feel the release as the air leaves the body on an exhale, traveling through the entire spinal column. And in this deeply connected state, if you have an intention to call into your practice today, now is the time to do it. On an inhale, call it into your heart space. And then exhale it out to the universe so it does not become expectation. One more full yogic breath here. And then we're going to go ahead and go right into our restorative practice, working mostly with the chest region, Anahata chakra, and the lower back. So bringing the knees in to the chest. Give yourself a little hug. And listen to whatever your body's asking you for today. You You can draw circles, really giving that lower back a slight massage, thanking your kidneys for all they do. You can hug and squeeze them in tighter and release them slightly. Open the knees. Close them. Drawing circles if you wish. Now is the time that you listen to what your body's asking you for. Letting the movement be fluid and slow. Keeping that lower back pressed to the mat. Bring the knees in. We're going to do some work where our fingers are on the tops of the knees here. And we're just going to exhale the air as we hug the knees in. And inhale as we reach the legs away from us. As we reach those legs away, if the lower back pulls off the ground, we've gone beyond our own limit. So we're really just doing a very, very small rocking of the pelvis. It's not actually a rocking of the pelvis, that's a lie. It's this very contracted, stable movement as we move the knees in and out, squeezing and releasing, but keeping that belly button in search of the back. We're activating the core. Always coordinating the movement with the breath. Last time, inhale them out. And exhale them in. Again, if you need to do little circles here, my hips are a little tight, so I'm doing circles with the knees, opening up the hips. And then coming back to center, drop those feet down onto the mat. I'm going to take the right leg and cross it over the left leg. Now, this can be done in many ways. It really depends on where you're at with your hip flexor and your psoas and how tight you are in that region. So what we can do, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways. I like to do it this way with my ankle over my knee, and then I lift the bottom leg off the ground and lace my fingers behind my thigh. This might be a little bit too much for you. If it is, just cross that leg and then bring it in like this. That'll give you a little bit of a different stretch, and it'll put less strain on a tight muscle. We don't want it to hurt. So if it hurts, then we need to find an alternative on how to adjust the posture to our limitations. So just activating those full yogic breaths here in this posture, wherever it is that you're at. Keeping the back completely glued to the mat. We're going to take 3 full breaths here. Noticing that with each exhale, there is a release of tension. And then releasing the interlaced fingers from behind the leg. We're going to let that foot come down onto the ground, but we're going to keep this leg crossed. So if it's here or here, stretching the hands outside at your sides in a T, palms up. Let those knees fall over to the left side as the chin swivels over to the right. Three long breaths here. When I say long, I'm referring to full yogic breaths that are born in the diaphragm and travel upward into the ribs and into the clavicle, just as we did when we were dropping in. And slowly inhale as you finish the 3rd breath, the head and knees back to center. We're going to go ahead and do the other side now. So crossing the left leg over the right knee, either crossing at the ankle or at the knees, whichever feels best for your body. We're going to go ahead and lace our fingers underneath the thigh. And if this is hard for you, you don't need to actually do that. You can just keep it here and then work on opening that knee slightly. Okay, you don't need to lift it necessarily if that's not where you're at today. Give yourself permission to be wherever you are today. And just really letting the breath seep into all of those tensions, loosening them up. After you've taken 3 full breaths here, drop the foot down onto the mat. Stretch those arms out in a T and let the knees fall over to the right as the chin swivels over to the left. Take your attention to the breath. There's a Buddhist practice called Maitri. It's this beautiful notion of every time you notice the mind getting distracted, you simply wrap your arm around it as you would a good friend and say, hey, come back over here. We're doing this right now. It's this beautiful practice of becoming your own friend, your own best friend, guiding yourself continuously over and over and over again, back to the moment, to now. And bringing the knees back to center, inhaling the head towards the ceiling now. You can uncross the legs. We're going to do some pelvic lifts here. So placing the heels as close to the glutes as possible. I'm going to show you before you do it. There are two options I'm going to teach today. One is a dynamic option that we do all the time actually, which is the placing the palms down by the hips. We inhale the hips up towards the ceiling, inhaling until we need to exhale, rolling through the spine, exhaling down, okay? That's one. That's the dynamic version, coordinating movement with breath. The other version is more of a stagnant version meant for holding. The difference on a psychological level is really one is flowing through this opening and closing of the heart chakra, Anakat chakra, and the other one is about sitting and staying there. So it's stagnant. And so what we do, if you want to try the stagnant one, I invite you to listen to your own body if you prefer the dynamic one. Both are wonderful practices. And this, if we're going to do the sustain, the hold, you're going to roll up and you're going to put your hands clasped behind you underneath the pelvis. And you breathe here. So you hold it and do full breaths. So go ahead and decide which one you'd prefer. Listening to your own body, perhaps you want to do a bit of both. That's okay. Always inhaling towards the ceiling and exhaling as you roll down. If you are doing the held version, don't hold it beyond your own limits. Listen to the body. If it gets tired, come down. Take a moment to rest. You can always go back up. And whenever you're done, go ahead and stretch the legs out, palms upward. In Shavasana, simply observe the body before we roll over onto our bellies. Take a few seconds. Notice the subtle shifts that are taking place on a cellular level. And slowly begin to wiggle your hands and toes, really stretching them out, making fists and balling them up and letting them loose. And slowly roll over onto your belly, however you choose to get there. Placing your palms under your forehead, elbows out to the side. Simply take a deep breath here. When you're ready, place your elbows right under your shoulders, palms flat out in front of you. And this is less about arching the back as it is more about stretching the sternum towards the wall in front of you. Breathe into this. Imagine a light shooting out from your heart space. And go ahead and swivel those elbows back around, palms on top of each other. Forehead resting on the palms. Take a deep breath here. And on the next inhale, swivel the elbows back around under the shoulders, palms down. One last time, stretching the sternum towards the wall in front of you. While this is definitely something to release tension in the lower back, you'll probably feel a great deal of release in the shoulder blades, in the side body right underneath the shoulder blade. And go ahead and exhale and come back down. Give your body a rest. We're going to slowly come to a standing position. I'll let each of you choose the best way to get up. I know that our knees are tender and this may not be your favorite. I'm going to do a cat stretch pose here. You can make your way up to a standing position slowly, using the chair if you have it here nearby. And I'm going to check in with everyone before we start the next part. Okay, I'm not sure why, but it's not letting me unmute you, and it's set up so that you have to unmute yourself. So let's just do this. Is everybody doing okay?
Yes.
So far, so good. Okay. I'm not sure why it's set up this way today, but I just wanted to make sure. Anne, are you doing okay? Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right, so here we are. We're gonna use our chair to do some cat-cow, but in order to get there, I want us to stand in front of the chair. I want us to bend our knees slightly and place our hands here at the crease in our hips. And I want us to bend over that way, like we're folding our torso on top of our hands, and then place the hands on the chair. You can readjust at this point here. Your knees should be right over your hips, hands right under the shoulders. And we're going to do some dynamic breaths with the cat-cow. Inhaling, surging to reach the back of the cranium towards the coccyx. And exhale, reaching the chin to the pelvic bone. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. Moving at your own speed, coordinating the breath with this movement. Tibetan yogic tradition believes that youth and health start in a supple spine. And so that's what we're doing here. We're sending our breath through each and every vertebrae, really reaching, lengthening, creating fluid movements. Last time, inhale up and exhale down. Coming back to center here, let's walk those legs back and do a kind of downward facing dog using the chair as support. Reach those hips away from you. Hips and hands have an oppositional pull. And careful with your heads here. We are not drooping our heads like this. Our heads are active. Chins are tucked, long necks through the back of the neck. My ears are searching to be in line with the inside of my elbows. As I lengthen the back leg, reach those hips away from me. I can wag my tail a little bit to get a different kind of stretch in those hips. Bending one knee and the other. Find what feels good to you. And go ahead and raise the gaze to look at the ceiling. seat of the chair. Using the chair, walk those feet in. Okay. We're going to do 2 different lunges, a sequence of lunges. Let me fix my hair here. It's getting all over the place. Okay. So the first lunge is going to be hips facing the chair, okay? Very much square with the chair, our toes are facing forward. We're going to take our right leg and we're just going to step it back, okay? My knee is right over my heel and I'm pushing through the back leg here, okay? So this is not a deep lunge and you should feel this in your calf muscle and the Achilles tendon. And it'll help you really maintain a kind of straight hip structure for the next lunge, which will go a little bit deeper. So once you get here, inhale the hands up and exhale them down, bringing them to the heart. Find stability in the posture, breathing into it. One more long, full breath. And dropping the hands, push off the back foot, flexing the front, and come back to standing. Okay, same leg now. We're just gonna go a little deeper. So this time, instead of worrying or thinking about pushing through the back of the heel, I'm gonna let that heel stay off the ground. Because what that lets me do is it lets me get lower. And instead of stretching through that back leg, I'm stretching through the front leg, okay? So go ahead, deep breath, inhale. On the exhale, step that right leg back as far as you can. Your weight is centered between the two. Your knee is right over your front heel. Back foot is propped up, not pushing through the heel necessarily. You should feel this in the psoas, in the front of the hip. And if you're there and you're ready to find stability, inhale those hands up and exhale them into your heart. If not, you can keep your hands on the chair to help you for support. Drop the hands, place them here on the front of the chair, on the chair. Go ahead and straighten that front leg here. So now you have 2 straight legs. Hips are still facing forward. Go ahead and scissor that front foot just a little bit to give yourself a little more stability when you push off that back leg and come back to standing. And go ahead and come up. We've got the left leg to do now. So standing close to the chair, hips forward. Really feel the feet on the mat. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, step the left foot back, pushing through the heel. Shallow lunge, my knee is right over my heel. Hips are facing forward. I'm going to inhale my hands up and exhale them into my heart space. Finding stability. Take your attention to the breath. And dropping the hands, take the weight over the front leg and push off the back leg to come back to standing. Go ahead and shake out the legs if you need to before we go deeper. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to step that left leg back as far as we can. I'm not thinking about pushing through the heel as much as I am centering my weight between the two legs. Again, checking in with my knee and my heel, being certain that my hips are facing forward here. You should really feel this in the front of the hip. It shouldn't hurt though. So listen to the body. If it's painful, take it less deep. When you're there, inhale the arms, exhale them to heart space. And placing the hands on the seat of the chair, go ahead and straighten that front leg. We have two straight legs now. Use that front foot, scissor it back just a little bit so that when you pass your weight onto it and push off the back leg, you have more stability to come to standing. And finally, we're going to go ahead and do a balance. So you may want to turn your chair around or not, whatever works for you. And we're just gonna check in with our feet first to be sure that our weight is equally distributed on both feet, but also across the bridge of the toes. Really make sure you can feel that bone under the big toe and baby toe. You can feel your heel driving down into the earth. Just sway back and forth for a second to notice the difference between the weight on one foot and the other. And then depending on where you have your chair, mine, for example, is on my left side. When your weight gets on the foot that's closest to your chair, go ahead and stand there. Bring the right, in my case, the right leg in. And then just make sure that you're not sitting in this hip. Lift up through that hip, and whenever you're ready, we're gonna raise that leg up. Now, tree pose, it can look like this, where my heel is resting just below my knee. It can look like this, where my heel is above my knee. The most important part is for you to listen to what you're capable of doing, and that the foot never rests on the knee. It's either above or below. Be the tree, firm and rooted. One more long breath here as we find our stability. And then exhale, let the leg and hand drop down. Shake out that standing leg. And change the chair to the other side. Again, checking in with our feet. We do this because what tends to happen is, well, like I always say, balance starts in the feet. We don't realize that we tend to carry most of our weight on one or the other legs. And so when we practice being off kilter, it helps us find the balance. And so whenever you're ready, shift your weight onto the standing leg, which is the leg closest to the chair. Bring that foot in. As you find your balance, you can use your chair if you want to. Make sure that your hip is not compensating. So really push that hip in and lift up out of it. And whenever you're ready, bring that tree limb up. So either above the knee or below it. Once you've found your stability, bring the hands into heart space. Prayer pose. There are a lot of different perspectives on this posture, and some people say it's about finding the tree in you. I like to think of it more about finding me in the tree. It's just a different way of connecting. And last, long inhale here. On the exhale, go ahead and release the foot down, slowly shaking out the base leg. And unless there are any requests for final postures, we'll go ahead and ease our way into the relaxation meditation part of the class. Does anybody have anything that they think, oh man, I wish she had done X, Y, Z, or anything you feel like your body's still asking for? Oh, looks like I've done my job.
You did your job.
Okay, so go ahead and you can do this relaxation lying down, sitting in a chair, sitting in meditation pose, whichever calls to you today. As you settle into your pose of choice. And just turn your attention inward. Returning to that very grounded state that we started with this morning. And scanning the body, beginning at the toes. Simply let loose. As you sink deeper, feeling the beautiful heaviness sweep over the body. And as you take your attention to the toes and the ball of the foot and the arch and the heel, simply let loose. Traveling that attention upward through the ankle, into the calf muscles, journeying in and around the knee. every tiny articulation, every nerve, tendon, ligament, and muscle simply releases, giving the body a well-deserved break. And anywhere your attention touches simply acts as a trigger to sink deeper into the earth and into yourself. Noticing the thighs and the hips, all of the pelvic floor and vital organs. In and between the ribs and all of the shoulders, arms, forearms, and fingers. Melt into the moment. Your attention journeys between the clavicle and all of the tiny ligaments of the neck. All the support to the cranium. Tiny muscles in the face. And even the hair follicles. Simply let loose. And in this perfectly relaxed state, you can be nowhere but here and now. Even if the mind journeys and travels outward, there is only this moment. And everything, including distraction, is part of this moment. Call yourself back as your own best friend. Resting in the breath, in the spiritual space, the energetic space of where the air ends and the body begins. The body ends and the air begins. And as you rest there, mentally repeat the words that I say to you. Today, I give thanks to the Great Spirit that guides me, both within and without. May this guidance give me strength as I walk this path of healing. May I grow more compassionate, empathetic, and loving, not in spite of my grief and loss and experience, but because of them. May I never take a single moment for granted. May I honor this in all moments as sacred. Letting those words sink in, psyche. We'll close close class by singing Om. You can either rest in the vibration of my song or you can sing along with me. We'll sing only once. Taking a deep, full yogic breath. Thank you for coming to practice with me today. I appreciate the space you hold for me. Thank you so much. Satnam.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, ladies.
Namaste.
Make your way to sitting and I'll make my way to you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
You're very welcome. How's everyone feeling after that?
Good.
Oh, really
Right.
good. It's exactly what I needed.
Yes.
Definitely.
Me too. Me too.
Stephanie, how do we access the recorded session?
Yeah, I don't know either.